Cleetus McFarland is not just racing at Michigan International Speedway this weekend. He is the Grand Marshal, too. Michigan International Speedway announced that Cleetus will be the one standing in front of tens of thousands of fans delivering the most famous words in motorsports. "Gentlemen, start your engines," before climbing into the number 4 Nice Motorsports Chevrolet and going racing himself. The president of Michigan International Speedway called it a perfect pairing, bringing a wheelman like Cleetus McFarland to the heart of the automotive capital. And Cleetus himself said he has never done anything like this before and that he is fired up about it. That reaction tells you everything about where this story is right now. A YouTube personality turned NASCAR driver is now being treated like a main event attraction by one of the sport's most historic venues. And the journey that got him to this point is one of the most unlikely and genuinely compelling stories in modern motorsports. To understand what Michigan means in the context of the Cleetus McFarland story, you have to understand how much ground he has covered in a very short period of time. When he made his Truck Series debut at Daytona at the start of the 2026 season, he was involved in a wreck and finished 37th. That was his introduction to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. After the race, he described it as insane from the start, saying they were immediately 3 wide, which he wasn't expecting. That is the honest reaction of someone who showed up at Daytona and got hit with the full reality of what NASCAR Truck Series racing actually feels like when 36 drivers are all fighting for position in the first turn. It was humbling. Music, it was public. And it was just the beginning. Because here's the thing about Cleetus McFarland that separates him from every other celebrity who has ever climbed into a race car for a one-off moment in front of a camera. He did not go home after Daytona. He kept building. He raced in ARCA at Daytona in February and finished 11th. Then he went to Rockingham in the ARCA East Series and finished 4th. Then came Talladega in the ARCA Menard Series, where he crossed the line in 2nd place. 2nd place at Talladega, on one of the most intimidating and unpredictable tracks in all of American motorsports. A track where Cup Series veterans have their careers derailed in a single moment. Cleetus McFarland came within 1 position of winning an ARCA race there. His team owner at Red Jones Racing said after that result that Cleetus had come further faster than almost anyone they had worked with at that stage of development. That is not a compliment handed out to generate social media content. That is a professional racing organization describing what they actually witnessed from a developing driver. Meanwhile, on the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series side of his schedule, Cleetus was making his debut with Richard Childress Racing in the number 33 Chevrolet, the same legendary organization where Dale Earnhardt won 6 of his 7 championships, the same team where Kevin Harvick launched his career after Earnhardt's death in 2001. When the deal was first announced, Harvick had Cleetus on his Fox Sports show to break the news live. Harvick's reaction was one word. What? Complete disbelief. Because the idea of a YouTube content creator landing a multi-race contracted deal with RCR is the kind of thing that sounds impossible until you see it confirmed in writing. But there it was. A 2-year part-time deal through 2027. 3 races per year. Real NASCAR. Not a publicity stunt. Not a one-day tryout. A commitment from one of the most storied teams in the sport's history. His O'Reilly debut at Rockingham produced a 32nd place finish. Nashville followed with a 35th. The finishing positions do not tell the full story, but Cleetus himself is not hiding from them either. He has been straightforward about the learning curve. He saved a spin early in the Rockingham race on lap 4, which showed genuine car control. He spun in Nashville on the final lap of stage 1 while fighting for the lucky dog position. He had a pit road incident where the car rolled off the jack and dragged it out of the stall, earning a drive-through penalty. Through every single one of those moments, he stayed on the radio, saying he wasn't going to give up and was going to figure it out. And after Nashville, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was working the Prime Video broadcast, walked straight up to Cleetus's car on pit road and told him that this had happened to everyone and to keep doing his thing. Jr. then said publicly that Cleetus was way better at Nashville than he was at Rockingham and that he would keep getting better. When the son of the greatest driver in NASCAR history is validating your development as a racer, something real is happening. Now comes Michigan, and the stakes are different from anything Cleetus has faced before. Michigan is his 2nd Truck Series start of the season, And the Craftsman Truck Series is a significantly more competitive environment than the O'Reilly Series. The fields are deeper, the drivers are hungrier, the machinery is more sophisticated, and Michigan International Speedway is a 2-mile superspeedway that rewards confidence and precision in equal measure. It is a track that exposes drivers who are not yet comfortable at speed in close quarters, because everything happens faster and the margins for error are smaller than almost anywhere else on the schedule. Cleetus will be sharing the track with drivers who have been running Truck Series races for years and who have laps at Michigan built up over multiple seasons. But the Grand Marshal announcement changes the energy of his Michigan weekend entirely. Michigan International Speedway said Cleetus is a natural-born entertainer and one of the biggest names in racing today, and that there is no doubt he is going to energize the crowd before putting on a show for the fans. That is the track's president describing someone who has earned a level of credibility and celebrity within the sport that goes beyond just showing up and running laps. You do not hand the Grand Marshal duties to someone you are treating as a novelty. You give that role to someone whose presence actually means something to the fans walking through the gates. Michigan is betting that Cleetus McFarland puts people in seats and puts energy in the building before a single engine fires. And the automotive capital angle is genuinely compelling. Michigan is the home of the American car industry. Detroit is the backdrop. Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler built their empires in this corner of the country. And the culture around cars and engines and performance runs deeper here than almost anywhere in the United States. Cleetus McFarland built his entire audience around that exact culture. He is a man who grew up obsessed with muscle cars, built them in his garage, destroyed them on tracks and drag strips, and turned that passion into one of the most successful automotive YouTube channels in the world. Putting him in front of a Michigan crowd is not a gimmick. It is a natural fit between a personality and an audience that already speaks the same language. Cleetus is also already confirmed for the Truck Series race at Talladega in October, which means Michigan is not a one-off opportunity. Music. It is the middle chapter of a Truck Series story that has a beginning at Daytona and a future race already scheduled at one of the most famous tracks on the planet. The arc is intentional. The schedule is being built piece by piece, and the progression from a 37th place wreck at Daytona in February to Grand Marshal and competitor at Michigan in June to Talladega in October is the kind of trajectory that serious racing programs are built around. The bigger picture is where all of this leads, because Cleetus has never been quiet about his ultimate goal. He wants to race the Daytona 500. Not immediately, not without earning it, but that is the target. And when you map out what he has accomplished in a single calendar year, a top 2 RCA finish at Talladega, a 2-year RCR deal in the O'Reilly Series, 2 Truck Series starts with a third already booked, Grand Marshal duties at a Cup weekend. The pathway to Daytona does not look as distant as it did 12 months ago. Drivers have taken longer routes to get there, and none of them arrived with an audience that was already invested and already watching every single lap. Michigan International Speedway is the automotive capital of America, and Cleetus McFarland is the most famous car guy on the internet. He is going to fire up the crowd with a green flag command, climb into the number 4 Nice Motorsport Chevrolet, and then go racing against a field of professional drivers who have been doing this their whole lives. That is the Cleetus McFarland story in one sentence. And whether NASCAR saw this coming or not when a YouTube star first started showing up at ARCA events 2 years ago, the sport is fully along for the ride now. Michigan is next, Talladega is after that, and somewhere down the road Daytona is waiting.